All right. Hey, everyone. I hope you are seeing me and that we are live. My YouTube is lagging a little bit, but I assume we are now live. Hey, everyone. So let me introduce myself, and then Jonathan will introduce himself. And no presentations today. We're going to be doing some live coding. And Jonathan, are you seeing that we're live? Hang on.
Yeah, we should be
Oh,
live right now.
okay. All right. So I pressed the wrong button. How dare I? Anyway, my name is Roger Kibbe. I'm a senior developer evangelist for Samsung Bixby. And we're going to talk about a bunch of changes that happened with Bixby this year, kind of review the year. We're going to talk about some future functionality. I'm going to show you a little demo video of that. And we're going to give away some really cool stuff. All right. So you know what we're going to give away? I'm going to give away not one, not two, not three. I'm going to give away 4 phones. Now I'm going to give away a couple of these Samsung A50s, but I'm also going to give away something that looks like this. Now the special thing that this is, let me turn it on. Hang on. Is that it actually folds. Yep, that's right. So I'm going to give away a couple of Samsung flips today. So one of these, so I'm gonna give away 2 of the A50s and 2 flips. All right. So how do you get eligible for that really cool giveaway? What you need to do is you need to follow us on Twitter, and then you need to retweet the tweet that just came out. I'm going to post it right now in there. All right. I posted the link there. What you need to do, go there. Make sure you are following Bixby developers and then retweet that. And when you retweet it and you're following us, then you are eligible for the giveaways. And we'll do a giveaway maybe about halfway through. And then we'll do a giveaway right before we leave. And so I'll give away a A50 and a flip twice. All right. So with that being said, that's the logistics. And I've introduced myself. So let me turn it over to Jonathan.
Yes, very exciting, guys. We are giving away, like you said, 2 flips. I've been using the flip for a while, actually, and it's a great phone. But anyway, my name is Jonathan Pan. I'm a regular developer evangelist for Bixby. And yeah, I guess we're just going to go ahead and hop into today's presentation, which is going to be kind of an update or like a wrap up to show what's really changed and what's been added into Bixby and Bixby Studio. And yeah, why don't I just go ahead and get started with that. So give me 1 second while I pull this up. And you guys should be able to see my Bixby Developer Studio. And one of the first big additions that we added to Bixby Studio is the new Training 2.0. And many of you guys who have done development for Bixby will recall the old Training 1.0. And fun fact, for a while, we actually had both Training 1.0 and Training 2.0 available. But now you only have access to Training 2.0. So if you're not familiar with it, or if you still remember 1.0, I guess now you're going to have to get used to 2.0. Now, the old way to access 1.0 is by clicking, for example, an individual training locale in one of these folders. But now, they both lead to Training 2.0. So with that being said, we did keep a few of the features in 1.0 that you may be familiar with, and one of which is, adding this type of a value and stuff. When you tag something, you can still see this old 1.0 training UI where you're able to, tag and look, and then, you can add stuff like that. That was actually a bit of back and forth, because for a little bit, 2.0, you'd have to, click some stuff on the right after you click on this, but now it's back to this type of tagging system. So much more streamlined, in my opinion. And the next thing that 2.0 really added is this side panel. And this side panel is, in my opinion, a really great way to filter and to organize the different trainings for your capsules. Here you can see you can show the learned ones, the not learned ones, not compiled, the ones that kind of failed to compile, or the ones that failed to be learned. And it just makes it really easy to go through these and figure out what kind of trainings you're looking for. And for example, you can sort by goal, right? So here you just click on the goal of copycat, and you can see you have all these copycat ones, and it just automatically puts it in the search bar and searches for it. But oftentimes you might forget, oh, what's the syntax for searching up a specific goal like that, right? It's goal colon and then your action or whatever, right? Or your model in this case. So very easy now to just filter through and go through the different ways to organize the training examples in your capsule. We can see here, you can even sort by the prompts, right? So prompt voice and prompt input. So these are for input views, right? So app prompt for an input in this case. And finally, annotations, which I often forget. It's actually node colon and then whatever it is that you're searching for. I often forget, it's actually node and not annotations in this case. So that makes it very convenient. And finally, you can always use this to just simply search for like a specific text in your training examples. Here you can see I just searched for the word ask, and we can see that it just pulled up these training examples that have the word ask in them. And the next thing really that Training 2.0 added is they have some very nice looking analytics. Here you can see that it's organized by the different targets. You have mobile, watch, fridge, and you can see here the learn status. Right here, you got this little legend here that tells you this little bar is learned, not learned, and not compiled. And finally, you can also switch to the target. Like let's say you have specific training examples for a specific target, you can filter it by that. But since my training is all under the ENUS umbrella, which is I guess the top level, so all these training examples apply to all three targets that I have here. And why don't we just go ahead and do a random training. So just say, help me, I'm trapped in this capsule. And we'll just go through, just a simple training example. And here, it's very similar to the old way of doing training examples. It even shows you this kind of node map. I think that's what it's called. And you just highlight, click and drag to tag something. And in this case, for my capsule, this is an input concept, an input model. And you can even, of course, show the aligned NL if you prefer editing the original code itself. Here it is, right? And that's also an easy way to edit the text here. And oops, didn't want to tag that. Finally, you can, of course, add the old flags by clicking on this thing on the left. So, all the features are still there for training 2.0. Now, I do know that one point of feedback was that you can't see other training examples while you're editing a training. But, at least for now, this is a pretty good middle ground between kind of all the features that Training 2.0 provides as well as what 1.0 had to offer. All right. So now there is a new thing that I wanted to show you guys that I found to be very enlightening to me. And it's just this small detail, but I think that these small details add up because there's been a lot of things that have been added. But here, I'm trying to create a new input view. Let's just say a new test input view. And here we can actually change the file type and everything just right here. And you can even select the template for the type of view that you're trying to create. In this case, I want to create an input view instead of the confirmation view. And then you just click, test, just click create, and now it will, oh, okay, looks like it desynced a little bit. So let me go ahead and fix that really quick. All right, it's going to take a couple seconds in order to fix that issue. Okay, so we've also got two errors. Let's see what it's complaining about. That's right. Okay, yeah, it's complaining about the new view that we just created. And here, you just want to change. Now you have the input view boilerplate code instead of the original where you'd have to just like delete it every time and type it all out. So there we go. It's just a nice little quality of life that I appreciate that was added to Bixby Studio. And I'm just going to delete that because we don't really need it. Okay, but let's say you have this input view, and another great quality of life that people were requesting, and that also helps you save a lot of time, is the ability to search for documentation straight in the IDE. And here we have this new little icon on the left where it says show documentation search. You can, of course, use the keyboard command, which in this case is Command 4. So if you click on this, you can search here. And let's say we want to learn a little bit more about this input view. Just type in input view, and here now we have links to the proper documentation for an input view. And it opened it up down here, but basically it punches you out into your browser of choice, and takes you straight there, which is very quick and convenient. So now we have the relevant documentation for the input views, and let's say you're interested in the rendering for an input view, and then you see here that's got a bunch of stuff, right? So here, usually, forms is very popular to use in an input view, and you have a lot of different options for this. So yeah, the documentation search, right, works for all sorts of different elements, just like I was talking about, for example, a form, right? If you wanted to add a form here, you can just search for that, and you'll be able to see input view.render.form, which is what we're looking at right now. And there it is, right? So we can see that it's taken us to this, and we can also look at the elements. So now we can see, oh, we have these different types of elements for an input view. In my capsule's case, it's using a text input, I believe. I believe it's using a text input, right? Oh, no, it's using a text area, but you guys kind of get the point, is that the documentation search right here in the side panel, very convenient and very easy to use. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to show you guys is the shortcut editor. So in order to access the shortcut editor, you just got to click on this little cog wheel in the bottom left, which is the settings. And here we have a new thing called the keyboard shortcuts and open editor. So it's actually super easy to, there's a ton of different shortcuts that, I don't even know about. And yeah, so you can look at all the different shortcuts that you have accessible to you. And we're just gonna, I guess, edit this one real quick. So I'm gonna do Alt-Shift-B for About Bixby Studio. And just like that, you've added a custom shortcut for while you are in the main window of Bixby Studio. But of course, it's not just limited to that. We also have the simulator, we also have the debug console, and finally, very importantly, we have the code editor. And you can just click on each one accordingly and set your different keyboards, set your different keyboard shortcuts to your preference. And I believe the default keyboard shortcuts to this are similar or identical to VS Code, which uses, I think, the Monaco code editor, if I remember off the top of my head. So yeah, you'll see that in the code editor itself, if you are a longtime user of VS Code, a lot of these shortcuts will be, similar or identical to VS Code. And of course, you can, obviously change and edit whatever shortcuts you need or want for your personal coding preferences. And here in the main window, like I said earlier, we did the Alt-Shift-B shortcut. So let's go ahead and save that. And we're going to use that shortcut. I'm pressing Alt-Shift-B right now. And you can see that it opened this tab for the About Bixby Studio. And that happens to be the perfect transition into the next thing that I wanted to show you guys, which is creating a new capsule from a sample. And right here, you have these different options, right? You have create new capsule from sample, create new capsule from template, each of them do slightly different things, right? The create new capsule just creates a very super bare bones basic capsule with pretty much nothing in it. The create new capsule from template was introduced some time ago, and this one, it auto generates a capsule based on one of the preset templates. But the new one, create new capsule from sample, basically grabs a sample capsule, a functioning but pretty basic sample capsule, and throws it into your simulator. And basically all it really does is it grabs it from GitHub, right? So in this case, we have, I'll use the SSML example one, and I'm just going to name this, so SSML underscore test underscore webinar, and just click create local copy. But here you can see that we also have, a preview essentially of this sample capsule right here that you can click on this, view on GitHub, and it will take you to the capsule sample collection that this is based off of. And there's also a tutorial for this on YouTube. Shameless plug, you can go check out the tutorial for that capsule as well. But here, it's just grabbing the capsules from this sample repo collection that we have on GitHub. And normally the process is, a bit long, a bit tedious, and you have to clone this repo, download it or clone it, and then you have to go find it, and then you have to click and drag this into Bixby Studio. Say no more to that. Now it is all built into the IDE with the create from sample feature, and I'm going to create a local copy. This takes, I don't know, like maybe half a minute or so, but actually a lot less in this case. Is pretty quick. There we go. There it is. And now we can run the capsule and hopefully it works. I'm sure it does, right?
Tap on one of the examples below to see some speech synthesis markup language in action.
All right, looks like it works, although it looks like this selection of views could use some work, but we'll just click on it.
Have you heard the story of the hare and the tortoise? Well, it went something like this. The hare fell asleep during a race against the tortoise, and the tortoise beat the hare in that race.
That's ridiculous. There's no way a fellow hare could lose to a slow tortoise.
Said Gretchen the hare. The tortoise retorts.
Oh, how about I race you home?
You're on. Eat my duff, slowpoke.
Gretchen bolts off into the sunset. Meanwhile, Turt tucks himself into his shell.
Looks like I win again.
So this obviously just a silly capsule, but it gives a pretty good demonstration of utilizing SSML on Bixby. And you can just obviously go through the code, look at the JavaScript, look at the way the plumbing is done in this capsule. And you can see the modeling that was used in this case, and you can see like all the different SSML tags, the way that is built. I guess the way that there's a function that sticks it all together, right? So it just gives you a great idea of how to utilize whatever it is in the sample collection. There's a lot of different capsules in that sample collection that you can learn from, that you can grab sample code from. And yeah, just a very convenient and powerful new feature in the IDE that saves you a lot of time when it comes to integrating or just building something off of a new capsule. Okay, so the next thing is we have a result view. And let me just double check. Yes, this is the next thing I wanted to cover. And it is the component gallery. So the component gallery is just makes it super easy to add new stuff. Render. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Okay, so here it is. Section, content. There we go. So when you're in the right level in a view, you're able to access the component gallery by pressing Control Space. And here we can see this new thing called Insert from Component Gallery. And clicking on this will give you a nice UI preview, kind of like a wizard or whatever that will allow you to build something for your capsule. And we can just add, let's say, an image. We can add an image carousel. There's just so many different UI components that you can add here that are all very easy and very simple to add. And let's say we wanted to add an image here. You can even post a proper URL for this. You can adjust the aspect ratio. You can adjust the background color. You can switch the object fit to contain, which, you know, looks terrible in this for this picture, but you guys get the point, right? You can set, now you can see the changes in the background color, like what that does. You can even adjust, you know, where you want the image to align. It's just a very powerful, very easy way to create view components now that really helps people visualize and quickly and pretty much instantly insert whatever component that they're thinking of. Even for more complex components like this, we've have some great examples of what it can look like. Right, so an image card, which has many more components than just a simple image. You can see how you know, some of the people at Bixby have created this type of sample card for you guys to draw inspiration from. And you can also look at the code itself. Now you can't edit the code here inside of this editor here, but you can adjust some of the presets here by switching the things on the right. However, you can also look at, for example, what it looks like in the dark theme, and even what it looks like in the OG original theme, even though most devices have upgraded from this, but there are some that still use it, like the fridge, I believe, still uses this. You can even adjust the device, right? So currently, you know, you can look at the fridge, you can look at the TV, you can look at the watch, right? You can look at, yeah, just all these different views in the simulator. And finally, when you click insert, there it is. There is all the code. And now you can adjust, for example, the paragraph that you want. You can adjust the slot 2, slot 3, whatever, right? So now that you have this code instantly inserted, it takes, you know, almost no time at all to create complex and new components for your result view. Now, keep in mind that it is specifically for result views. So let's just say, now, one thing that I like to use this a lot for are HBoxes, because HBoxes tend to be a little bit more on the, I guess, complex side when it comes to code. So here you have VBox 1, 2, and 3, and you can adjust all these, and you know, you have little portraits, images here, or sorry, yeah, little icons. When you click insert, look at all that code that it just spat out for you, right? So this saves a lot of time when it comes to just like creating the infrastructure and the structure of a component like the HBox, which has an HBox content. Then it has 3 VBoxes nested into it, as well as each VBox having contents with single lines and text and et cetera, right? So you guys can see how much time that painstakingly saved me. And now I can just adjust some of the URLs and some of the other parameters in this HBox here. So yeah, very powerful new tool, very nice quality of life. And again, to access it, you need to be at the proper layer or level inside of your result view, which is at the layout section content level. And then you just hit Control Space to bring up all this stuff for a result view. And then finally just click on Insert View from Component Gallery. And there you go. Okay, so I think that covers my portion of what we did for the Bixby Studio IDE. And now it is time for me to pass the baton on to Roger. Oh, Roger, you're muted right now. There you go.
Hey guys. So before I start, let's give away something. Let's give away some phones. All right, so I see, let's give away an A50 first and things. I know that's not what you're all waiting for, but we're going to give one away. All right, I see that there are 34 retweets and 2 quote tweets. So that means there are 36 people who actually retweeted. So I'm going to just use Bixby, and I'm going to ask it to give me a number between 1 and 36. And then you're going to have to bear with me because I have to manually look at it on Twitter. There's no good way to export these things to like Excel. Give me a number between 1 and 36.
Running some quick calculations. Drum roll, please. Your number is 10.
Number 10. All right. Let me look and let me just count down those. 3, 4. It is Rick Fisher. So Rick, congratulations. You have won an A50. And will make the note to this. And what we'll do afterwards is we'll just DM and we'll get your address and information there. All right. I think you guys really want one of these. So let me give away the first one of these. Once again, this is a flip. It folds. All right. So let me ask it for a number between 1 and 36. Oops, let me unlock it. Hang on. All right. Give me a number between 1 and 36.
Running some quick calculations. Drum roll, please. Your number is 19.
19. All right. All right. Once again, I got to manually count this. Mishi. All right. Congratulations, Mishi. You won a flip. So Mishi. Flip. All right. Same gig. We'll DM and get your information, and we'll be sending you a flip. All right, guys. So what I wanted to talk about is a couple new features that came out this year, and then I'm going to preview through a video some features that are coming out next year, and I think you guys will find very interesting. But let me share some on my screen here and clean some of these things up. All right. All right. So there it is. All right. All right. Let me go over to the Bixby studio. And I just want, first thing I want to talk about is playing videos in Bixby and a couple things we added this year, but really I'm somewhat of a review. I'm just going to show you how playing videos. Let's go to the simulator. All this code is available on GitHub. There's a new sample called video player. So if you just say start, your Bixby tech tip of the week. All right, I didn't enable sound when I shared, which I'll have to go back and do. Actually, I realize now. Actually, let me do that. Let me just fix that. Sorry, guys. Let me go share.
Oh, Roger, I think I could hear it, but
yeah, oh, okay. All right.
Double check, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Social. Sure. All right. Back over to the studio. All right. All about using auto. All right. All right. So that's just the video player. And that is just playing actually a Vimeo video. Now I will show you something else you can do. If I say play loop. All right. And this is a short video that's playing off YouTube. And when it's finished, it's going to loop. So you can loop. So just really simple stuff here. But let me show you the code behind this. All right. So we'll go over to this Bixby Studio. And I have the example video player. And everything really is in this. So first thing it is just play the video. All right. And playing a video in Bixby is super easy. Just video. Then you can specify, is it on Vimeo? Is it on YouTube? Or is it hosted yourself? And then for Vimeo and YouTube, you're just showing you're just passing the video ID. And then there's this option autoplay. In other words, when it loads, do you autoplay or not? All right. Now, if I was going to show YouTube, which is my second example, it's a video, it's a YouTube video ID, autoplay is true, but I also had that loop equals true. So if you noticed, it looped. I will tell you that loop tends to work best on videos that host themselves. Like when you loop a YouTube video, it kind of goes back to that, just a YouTube thing, goes back to that YouTube screen. So if you want a short looping video, I'd recommend hosting it yourself. But boom, video ID, autoplay or loop, you both are options, true or false. By default, they're false, so you don't have to include them. So that is how easy it is to play video in Bixby from multiple different sources. All right. Well, I'm speaking this and one thing I noticed is if you guys have any questions, I mentioned this in the chat, but I'll just say it verbally now. While we're talking, Just enter them. Go ahead in the YouTube live in the chat. So we get to open Q&A. We'll have a bunch of set of questions that we can go over. All right. Since I showed video, I also wanted to show you audio. I am not going to show you all the intricacies of playing audio in Bixby, but I wanted to show you a couple new features. So let's go over back to that and switch to example meow, which is something that is on GitHub. And if I click start.
Here's what I found.
All right. Now, a couple things I want to show you that's what's new. What's really new are these controls, which you control. So this is a skip track. And then skip forward 15, which skip the track because these tracks are so short. But I want to show you how you've had audio playing in Bixby for a long time. But being able to control how this UI looks here is something new. Super simple as well. So let's go back here in this video player. And once again, I'm going to show you, whoops, video player, audio player. I'm showing audio, not video. All right. Meow result view. All right. So what's new is really this audio control. All right. So there's this new tag when you're playing audio called audio control. There's this album art, album name, and artist that you can specify. It will say that typically you have a playlist, or you do need a playlist for Bixby. If you specified those override the values here. So I'm not going to focus on those or the title, but here I'm going to focus on skip by seconds, 15. So if I comment that guy out, and then I jump back to my simulator.
Here's what I found.
All right, you see the two 15s are the little skip buttons are gone. I can skill advanced tracks, which you control via this skip track visibility. So always enabled is an option, or I think it's disabled. Is it disabled? Let's see. Disabled. It's not. All right, well, let me just use, since I can't remember, we'll just use autofill. Oh, hidden. All right. Beauty of autofill, right? So hidden is if you wanted to hide it. All right. So I don't need to show that. You guys get the idea. That is controlling audio player and controlling whether you want those controls on the screen or not. All right. Something that isn't new, but I always like to talk about is how to add a new target. All right. Most of you done Bixby development, you probably built for the phone. Maybe your capsule.bxb looks like this, and there's one target, Bixby Mobile ENUS, right? So this is the phone in English on the US. If you want to add an additional target, for instance, I'm in this audio player and I want to use it on the fridge. Really easy target. Not mobile. You know, it's actually 10 times harder to type when you're given a demo than when you're doing it yourself. All right, so then we go, boom, it'd be on the fridge. So now if I went back over here, okay, now I could go this and I can open it up and I can say the target I want to be the fridge. All right, so the fridge really just is a wider view, but has a little bit different rendering.
Here's what I found.
So here's a good example and things. I think the audio controls are not supported on the fridge. You have to do it via voice. So I wasn't intending to show this, but that's a good example of, you should definitely check the documentation and make sure that they are controlled on the device. So if you're using some of the library capsules, you should check documentation and see if it's controlled. So you can play back audio on the fridge, but on the fridge, you control audio with your voice only. I think you can swipe down and control it too. But anyway, my point being that you could go back here if I wanted to Watch. Actually, I'm not sure what's supported in the watch. But if I just go to the simulator, and change it now to watch. All right, then you get a watch UI. So super easy to change and add a target in Bixby, and most things work. We have some other tutorials about the UI and checking it, and some things don't work identically across the different devices, but I just want to point out how incredibly easy it is. Now, I want to go back to the video player, and I want to go back to mobile. And let's just restart and start. I want to show you something. Your Bixby. All right. So one thing that you may notice if you've been working for Bixby for a while, you see how Bixby now is just the lower half of the screen, right? It's very small. It used to be the entire screen. All right. So we call this flexible UI. So particularly on the phone, we've changed how Bixby is rendered to make the UI as small as possible. Why is this important for you as a developer? Well, if you've done a Bixby UI that maybe you're expecting the screen to be big or that, you might want to go check it again in the studio and look how it'll render properly. But given you may need to optimize it for the actual smaller display. Just something, it's a little something you need to go check with your own capsule and see how it works with this. This tries to expand the UI you built. So if you built this big giant UI, maybe it will take the whole screen. All right. So that's the three things that I wanted to show you in Bixby that have happened this year, or I just wanted to emphasize a lot. But I also wanted to give you a little preview of what's happening in the future. And how I'm going to do that, I'm going to show you a video that was part of a presentation at our software developer conference this year. And this is going to show you something called Bixby Home Studio, which is a whole new development environment for integrating Bixby and smart things and home control. But let me shut up and just show you the video. So it is on QuickTime Player. Hopefully you guys are all seeing QuickTime Player now. Jonathan, you seeing QuickTime Player?
Yeah, I see it.
All right.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Bixby 2021 technical session. I'm Johan Kim from AI team of Samsung Mobile Communications. I'm so excited to tell you about our new features that we have prepared for our developers. Before we get into the details, let's talk about our device ecosystem. On your left, there's Bixby, our voice assistant. There are more than 300 million Samsung devices that users can speak to. On your right, there is SmartThings, our IoT platform. There are also many devices that users can control from the SmartThings app or from Bixby. We believe that intelligent voice interaction to those devices is our future. To developer, this device ecosystem can be full of possibility. So, we have built two platforms to meet this expectation. Through the Capsule platform, developers are able to create a unique voice experience for their services and apps. As you heard in the highlight session, we have developed Bixby Home platform. Developers can easily create intelligent voice experience for their devices without the knowledge on AI or IoT. Today, we will discuss these two platforms and their powerful, easy-to-use toolkits. Let's talk about Bixby Home platform first. Why do we need it? To explain this, let's consider an air purifier, which is quite popular in East Asian countries. Once the device is connected to the SmartThings cloud, we can control the device functions through the capability interface. Switch capability is for turning on and off the device. The dust level capability is for measuring the air quality level. The fan mode capability is for adjusting the fan speed. Bixby prepares the corresponding voice commands for the users who want to voice control these functions out of box. Sometimes you might face the situation when you turn on the device and find out the air quality is bad. In that case, you may want to increase the fan speed. If you do this using a voice assistant, you have to speak multiple times, as in the figure. That looks quite inconvenient, right? We believe this is not the intelligence that our users expect on Bixby. What if Bixby understands a simple voice command and takes care of all the necessary actions? We made the Bixby Home platform to achieve this. Bixby Home platform is in the layer between natural language processing in Bixby and IoT in SmartThings. When a voice command arrives, the Bixby Home platform reads the current state from the device and intelligently controls the device depending on the state. Bixby Home platform allows developers to customize this intelligent logic for their own devices. Then, how to create such intelligent logics? Someone might ask, isn't it difficult? Or requires a strong background on AI or IoT? The answer is no. We provide Bixby Home Studio, which is a GUI-based tool. Then you can draw your own intelligent logic using a mouse drag and drop. No coding, no voice training is required. Let me show you how this can happen. I prepared an air purifier which is connected to SmartThings. In this tech demo, I will show you the steps to making this air purifier intelligent. This is the main screen of Bixby Home Studio. Let's first choose the voice command of the device. As you can see, we prepared a lot of voice commands for these functions. Let's search power switch and then select the voice commands. Now your device starts supporting turn on voice command. So simple, right? We already trained this voice command and its variations, so you don't need to care about voice training at all. Next, we will turn on the device when this voice command arrives. We use this command node to send a comment to the device. We use this success node to generate a success response. We use this node to generate a failure response. Then we connect these nodes according to the execution flow. When the voice command arrives, the start node is triggered, and then this node will send a command to the device. If this is successful, in this node, Bixby will say, okay, I will. Otherwise, Bixby will say, something's wrong. It's almost done. We next determine the command to send to the device. Let's click the command node. Because we already connected this device to this tool, you can see all the capabilities of the device. Let's pick the switch capability and on command to turn on the device. Then you can see the command on the bottom of the node. Let's test this logic. There is a button called Try It Out. If you press this button, this logic is uploaded to the cloud and Bixby starts processing it. See, the device
Got
is
it.
turning on.
Okay.
In the same time, the tool shows the flow of execution and the results of the execution below the nodes. It's quite easy to debug your logic on a real device. Just turning on a device is nothing special. So let's make this logic more intelligent. Right after turning on the device, we will read the air quality level. If it is bad, we will increase the fan speed and inform the user about this automated action. We'll remove the response node to add more logics. To get the air quality level from the device, we use the attribute node. And we connect this node to the previous node. Let's click the node to select the air quality level among its attributes. We pick the dust sensor capability and its attribute. Then, you can see the chosen attribute below the node. Let's check what value will come from the device. The device told us that the current air quality value is 18. Next, we will compare this value to the constant limit to tell if the air quality is good or bad. We use the numerical comparison node to compare numbers. We move the success response node and connect them. Numerical comparison node takes two inputs from the other nodes. Let's put the air quality value to the node using a data path, which is the dotted line. We add a constant node and put its value to the other input. Let's set the constant limit to 40. And set the operator to be less than. If the air quality is good, the air quality value is less than the limit. In that case, the success response node will be executed. If the air quality is bad, the value is greater than 40. In that case, we have to add a node that increases the fan speed to the maximum level. Using the command node, we already prepared the logic, so simply connect it. After maximizing the fan speed, this node will return a custom response saying, I raised the fan speed because the air quality is bad. It's all done. Let's test our final toy example. As you can see, the current air quality value is 10, which is good. So Bixby just turned on the device without increasing the fan speed. To test the other path, let's put some dust to the device. See, the number is increasing. That means the air quality is getting worse. Now, we test the logic again. This time, Bixby read a high number,
speed because the air
so it
quality
took
is
a
bad.
different path to increase the fan speed. During this 60-minute tech demo, we have made our device automatically adjust the fan speed depending on the air quality level and return a proper response. As you have seen, the development of Bixby Home Studio is super easy. We didn't code any single line. We simply drag and drop the nodes and connect them to create an intelligent logic. It is also easy to test on a real device. The studio visualizes all the flows of actions and
All right, guys, I'm going to stop that, but I think you got an idea of what Bixby Home Studio is all about. I will personally say that I think this is pretty exciting if you think about it. I don't know, you may have connected up your devices with Bixby or with Alexa or Google, but typically it's pretty dumb. It's a one-way thing. I think it's pretty cool to go, here's a voice command. Now, before executing it, I'm going to go actually query the state of the IoT device. In that case, it was an air purifier. And then use that state to actually decide what to do, right? So his example is really good, right? If the if you say start air cleaner, and if the air quality is bad, then turn the fan up. Start it and turn the fan up, otherwise leave the fan on normal. And I think if you think about it, there's some pretty cool stuff that could be built there. I think about, so an example that I was thinking about the other day, because I have all my lights connected up, and I'm like, but at certain times of the day, I actually want my lights dim, dimmer or brighter. And I was like, well, I would like that to be queried on the time, right? So at this time of day, or even, so that wouldn't be an IoT thing, but that would be externally gathering information, which you could do in Bixby Studio, or even maybe the the time of the day or the weather outside to see if I need the dimness there. I think there's a bunch of interesting things you can do when you take voice input, IoT sensors, and then make a decision for what you want to do for the user. The other thing that wasn't demoed, which I think is interesting and very useful, and this is just helpful, is I think if you've ever done home control and you go, turn on the kitchen lights, right? And unless you specifically called something kitchen lights, that fails with just about every voice assistant. And so what you do, and what I end up doing is, because I call, well, kitchen lights, turn on the lights in the kitchen, right? And I create a bunch of routines that basically do the same thing, right? Because I say it 10 different ways. I don't think that's very efficient. So we're adding some AI to be smarter around that. When you ask, turn on the kitchen lights, it'll recognize different ways of, or turn on the lights in the kitchen, that'll just work. The other thing would be if my lights weren't even called kitchen, let's say I had living room lights and den lights and I don't know, kitchen table lights, right? Turn on the kitchen lights, probably would fail, but then it would say, instead of saying, sorry, I can't find kitchen lights with you see, it'd say, hey, I see you have dining room lights. I see you have den lights. I see you have kitchen table lights. Which light would you want to turn on? So kind of keeping that conversation interactive and not just failing for the user. I think this is pretty cool for home control. It's something I've been playing with, and I'm just not happy with the state of any voice assistant in home control. So I'm pretty excited about this coming out. It'll come out in 2022, and more information to be found. Literally, what me and Jonathan know about is that video and a little bit more, but we're still learning as well. And with that being said, I wanted to open it up to general Q&A.
We've got just a few questions this time, and I guess time is wrapping up on this webinar too, so kind of good timing for you to give away those phones soon enough, huh, Roger? But
Yeah.
let's get into the first question from MJ Chang 42. Does the IDE use the same shortcut file as VS Code for export or import, or is there a different way to export and import keyboard shortcut configurations? To my knowledge, I don't believe, at least built in the IDE, there's a way to import or export shortcuts from it. But maybe on Windows or something, you might be able to find the file itself that's responsible for it. I'm not sure where it is, right? But someone that could probably is smart enough to figure it out can probably figure it out, right? So
I was gonna add, that's a really good feature request.
It is, yeah.
That's a great feature request, because I know people have done a lot with
their shortcuts,
VS Code and shortcuts,
yeah,
right, and things like that. So I know people who wanted to act just like VI because they're masochists. But anyway,
yeah. Next question, Roger, I think you know the answer to this one by DeGravity SA. Does Samsung Galaxy A31 support Bixby?
Well, I had to look that up actually, because we have so many phone models. Unfortunately, it doesn't. So I know the A50 that what I'm giving away does, and some of the higher numbered A1s there. But I honestly, guys, there's probably 30 or 40 different Samsung phone models, and I don't know. What I do know is like the flagship. So the S series, the Flip, and the Fold, right, all support Bixby. When you get into the A series, it's kind of the higher numbered ones, and I think we also have Z phones that don't support it. But honestly, I have to search on the web for that too. All right, what else do we got?
One last question from MJ Chang 42. Curious about unit or integration testing in Bixby Home Studio. Was that demoed or to be determined when released? So what you saw there is pretty much all like Roger said. Him and I know about it really. Scheduled to be released in the future. And as for like what kind of testing is built into it, we just don't know right now, right? But it looks like a really powerful and exciting tool, and I think you'll be hearing about it from us or from other aspects of Samsung soon enough, right? Whenever it comes into fruition.
Yep. As soon as we know more, we will share more and things like that. As you saw, I'm pretty darn excited about that tool. All right, we only got a few minutes left, so it is time to give away some more phones. All right, first thing is going to be an A50 And I see, let me bring my window over here. Let me just refresh it and things. I see I have 38 tweets right now, or retweets. So I'm going to ask Bixby for a number between 1 and 38. I need a number between 1 and 38.
Running some quick calculations. Drum roll, please. Your number is 36.
36. All right. That's going to be easy. It's going to be the last retweet, actually. So Lincoln Cole. Lincoln. I know Lincoln. You get
Congratulations.
an A50. All right. All right. The second, let me give away. You guys want one of these? I think you guys do.
Yeah, I want
All
one.
right. You have one.
No, that's the second gen, right?
Oh, this is the third gen.
Third gen. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have
The
the
John
first
wants
gen.
on. I think he has the second gen. I have a third
No,
gen.
I have the first gen, Roger. First.
Oh, you have the third gen. No, this is the third
First,
gen,
yeah.
man. Man,
Yeah.
you got to keep up with your hardware, dude. All right. All right. So it is, let me just, look, see, we're getting last minute tweets because they're giving away a flip. We now have 39 tweets. All right. I'll let that go. I need a number between 1 and 39.
I didn't understand that.
Oops. Give me a number between 1 and 39.
1 second. Just double checking my math. All right. Looks like your number is 13.
Lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13. All right. I got to count these. Ben Chen. Ben
Woohoo.
Chen.
Ben, congratulations.
Congratulations. You get a flip. All right. So Rick Fisher, Mishi, Lincoln Cole, and Ben Chen. We will communicate via a DM. And what we're going to obviously need to do is get your address. We can only send it to US addresses and a few other, name. I think the shipper requires a phone number, but don't worry about that. All logistics. Anyway, hey, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. Super fun. I love giving away things. So it was super fun giving away the phones. And everyone have an amazing holiday, whatever holidays you are celebrating in December. Having an amazing one. And we'll see you back in the new year for another of these, but we're always on Twitter is a great way to contact. You can go through Bixby Developers or at Roger Kibbe, or what, John, you're at John without the H.
Yes,
John. I think
John with the H without the H, if that makes any sense.
John likes to make it obscure. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Have a fabulous, fabulous holiday season if I don't talk to you before the holidays. All right. Thanks. Bye.